Hey everyone, welcome back to Next Up Live. I'm your host, Ben Hallbrooks, and if you haven't been with us before, what I get to do with this series is I get to interview the fine people of NXTsoft in the different categories of fintech and cybersecurity and everything in between, and kind of get a little bit of behind the scenes look at what we're doing, some of the exciting things going on, and some of these markets and industries and what's happening there. So anyway, today I'm super excited to have with me Russell Lloyd. Russell, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Ben. It's a privilege to be here today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you again for your time. Russell is a data analyst for NextSoft in the Omniview, Omni data side of the business, and he'll get into that a little bit later. But uh, Russell, let's talk data conversion today. Okay, so financial institution data conversion, and that's a lot's going on there. But first, I want you to kind of paint a picture for us of, we've seen a lot of movement in the financial sector recently. Paint a picture for us of that landscape and where it stands today.
Well, you're right. There really has been a lot of movement, and the tendency over the last several years has been mergers and acquisitions. There are not near as many institutions now as there were 10, 20 years ago. Um, in fact, the last between 2016 and 2019, I think that the average was 50 to 75 banks every quarter were facing some type of merger or acquisition. And that was a healthy head of steam up until last year, 2020, when the COVID hit and all that uproar and everything tanked. I think we went down to, I was reading one study about it, down to about 120 or so institutions that year. So it was less than half of the normal, but it's climbing back. So there is a lot of acquisition and merger activity ramping up again, and that's what Omni Data specializes in.
Great. So with that ramp up, what are the pain points? I've titled our interview today, FI data conversion pain points. What are kind of the key pain points that you see in these mergers, acquisitions, core conversions, the kind of things you're talking about?
Well, it's quite a plate full of things to tackle. If you think about Bank A trying to absorb either some branches from Bank B, if there was simply a branch divestiture going on, or if you're trying to actually merge two complete organizations, there's usually a lot of advanced work, a lot of due diligence done for them to make sure that this is going to work. And what frequently drives their need for that is that they're looking to expand their database either for deposits or for customer base, excuse me, either for deposits or loans. And they may see a bank down the road or in another county or in another state, but the regions kind of complement each other. They don't necessarily step all over each other's feet, but they bring needs, they fill the needs of each other. So it's all, there's also a lot of management compatibility that's viewed there. What are the visions of these banks? But once they decide they're going to merge, then the practicality of just how do you make this happen is the huge thing. Okay, it's great to have an idea. How do you make it come about? And so that's the major pain points is how do you make this thing come together? You've got to consider not just the systems that are being merged or combined, but you're going to leave one behind. So you've got to get all the data from one system to another, and that's a major piece of this. How do you make all of that fit into the new category, the new system processing?
Sure. It reminds me, and again, this all analogies are limited, but it kind of reminds me of if you're moving to a new house, right? You're all excited about, hey, we've got this new house. It's going to be fantastic. Your vision's coming together for what your home is going to be, and then it comes down to the actual logistics of you got to make it happen. You gotta borrow a truck. You got to rent one. You got to find some friends to help you move. You got to make a date. You got to figure out how's this going to get here and where's it going to be stored in the meantime and all that stuff. That's logistically it's a bit of a headache, and you're really excited to get from point A to point B, but there's a lot in between. And what you're saying is, that's really where these pain points come into be come about is, you know,
Hmm.
data has to be moved, right? It's got to be moved. It
Right.
can't be left by the wayside. So what's like? how does NXTsoft fit into this? You referenced earlier this is where Omnidata Omniview sits. This is their specialty. What do you
Mhm.
guys do right there in that middle ground in mergers, acquisitions, and core conversions?
Well, the part of what they're viewing, they've got three approaches. They've got core banking systems to deal with. They've got item processing systems to deal with, and possibly document systems as well. So you have potentially three different systems to bring together. And the vendors that are involved are all about trying to get this system up and running. So they want it to start from day one, getting new information in, allowing input, interacting with the users properly, spitting out the reports they need, giving them the view they have of what's going on. But what can get left on the side of the road is, what about all the information that came from years ago that there are legal requirements to have at least 7 years of retention on some things, and some types of documents you have to keep for the life of the contract. If you've got a 30 years relationship with a customer, you've got to have all of those basic contracts still visible and available whenever they need it. But that converting that old data is not the primary driver for this whole thing. You've got to have them running today for the new business that comes in. So that element of, if you go back to your house moving, what you had in storage, when you get to the new house, ideally you want to get it out of storage and bring it to the new house and not have to pay to have that storage unit anymore to keep it there. And when you're going from an old system to a new system, whether it was a merger acquisition or just converting to a new vendor system for whatever reason, you still have to get that information into the new system, or at least reachable for research.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Omnidata brings a unique view in, and a unique product with Omniview, because Omnidata focuses just on the data piece. Okay, your vendors can take care of the new system and all the magic bells and whistles they have, and we focus just on how to get this data across as quickly as we can for you. We can do it much quicker than the vendor that's got this whole plate of other things to get done and limited resources to have it done, which this is our niche. This is what we specialize in. And we offer three flavors of that. We can strictly make it a conversion, where we get your information and move it and be done, and we have it all in your new system. Or we do a hybrid, where we will take some of, let's say the last 2 years are more likely to be researched than everything older than that. So we'll get those 2 years worth of data on over into your system, but the remaining 5 years out to that 7 year retention, plus the old stuff that always has to be around, we have an Omniview product that means that we can view that for you today. We can have it on a server on your premises, not outside your building, so it's still secure in your own environment. And you view it through our viewing product, and it never has to be fully converted into and loaded into the brand new system. But it does allow you to get it off of the old system, so it's no longer maintained. You don't have to keep paying to keep this other system just so you can read that information. And it's something that we can specialize in and take care of you for it. So it's either fully convert everything, or a hybrid, or in some cases, banks never bother to get that old data and move it over. They simply use our Omniview product, which is used for research and printing of any of that information that you need. So that's the magic of that. I think of the current customers we have over 500 customers that are currently in our mix. About half of those are using the Omniview product, which is that specific thing to just view it. So those at least half of those merger and acquisition customers saw that it was smart to just use the Omniview and not have to absolutely pay to get everything converted and moved over there. And then others went ahead and went the full tilt to get it in.
Sure.
So it's those three approaches: either full conversion, or a mix, or just use this viewer that we have that can take care of it for you.
I love the fact that it's tailor fit to the institution. It's not like a one size fits all kind of grid, like we're going to kind of force you down this road, even though it may not be what you want or need. But yet there's sort of, like you said, there's a kind of a spectrum of three different routes you could go, and you guys work with the institution to figure out what is best fit for them. Pretty cool. So real quick, I mean, I think the benefits are pretty obvious, but you mentioned security. We can talk about that maybe a little bit because the NXTsoft, of course, specializes in cybersecurity. You
Mhm.
mentioned, saving time and money, and maintenance costs. So just, wrap that up a little bit for me and kind of lay that out for us.
Yeah, I really have enjoyed as I came in to work with this group of the expertise footprint of NextSoft because you've got people with 20 or more years of banking experience in there. You've got people with 20 or more years of IT and security experience. And what they've combined in this company is a one-stop shop where you've got the expertise you need to handle heavy bank analytics, and you've got deep knowledge of bank processing centers, coupled with a cybersecurity focus. It gives you education for your employees. It gives you IT specialists that can serve as a term that we use is VCSO. It's a virtual chief information security officer for a mid-sized bank, small banks that can't afford to have a dedicated security officer in their IT crew. They may not even have an IT crew of their own. They can't afford that. They're just doing banking. They don't want to be IT specialists. And what NextSoft has is a marriage of those groups that are extremely important in today's environment because cybersecurity, hacking, and attacks are doing nothing but increasing. I read an article recently about the zero-day vulnerabilities, which in the dark web, you've got people selling secrets of vendors who don't even know the weaknesses of their own system yet. And there's already a clientele out there trying to use those to get into systems before they've even recognized they have a weakness. So anything you can do to get cyber secure is where you want to go. And NextSoft has that expertise. So we can focus just on your data if we're doing Omni data, or we can also come in and help you with a VCSO approach or do education for your customers to make them less susceptible to social engineering, to get passwords broken into and phishing and all those things. It's really a wonderful group of people and a bucket of expertise that we work with here. And I really am proud to be part of this thing.
Yeah, me too. And hey, you're absolutely one of those experts. So Russell, I really appreciate your time this morning talking to us about data conversion pain points and everything there that NextSoft kind of how they fit into that particular niche. What you guys are doing on the Omni data and Omniview side is pretty exciting. So I'll just say to anyone who's watching, if you have a question for Russell, or if you want to reach out in any way, leave us a comment below. Obviously, you can always go to our site, nextsoft.com. You can fill out a contact us form and let us know there. You can check out more about what Omniview and Omnidata have to offer. So, Russell, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
All righty. We'll see you guys next week.